nose this weekend.
Oh, thank you for doing that.
But I stood back and said, ma'am, may I help you? Do you need help? I'm not trying to say that you need help. No, I need help. So
you got to ask me, right? Come on over. You're extra kind. All right, more news to come to you right now on Morning in America. Have a donut, everybody.
Right?
Oh, yum.
My second one.
Come on. You had two?
Yes. Come on.
This morning, 5 American soldiers are dead. Their helicopter crashing in the Mediterranean Sea. What we know. And today marks 1 year since the gruesome University of Idaho stabbings, how the school is honoring the 4 students murdered, plus why DNA evidence might not be enough to convict their suspected killer.
Hypothermia and frostbite are a major concern for the people that are crossing in this area.
Also, illegal crossings by immigrants not just surging at the U.S.-Mexico border, more are pouring in from Canada, too. NewsNation getting a first-hand look, the records being broken that exceed the past 10 years combined.
We need to enforce the laws that are actually on the books.
Plus, younger and younger people are thinking about retirement and whether they'll be able to afford it, what you can do right now to save for the future.
So we're celebrating World Kindness Day, and I just took a big, gigantic bite of a Krispy Kreme donut because they're giving away free donuts today at Krispy Kreme for World Kindness Day.
Absolutely, for the first 500 who show up. So spread that kindness.
You did say there was a limited time, a limited number of donuts, but still get it while the getting's good. From our NewsNation headquarters in America's heartland, it's time for News for All America. I'm Adrienne Bankert.
Thanks so much for joining us. I'm Nick Smith, and for Markie.
Okay, so we want to get straight to this story. Unfortunately, sad news for our Army. 5 special operations troops, they were killed in a helicopter crash over the Mediterranean Sea this weekend. Their helicopter going down. Tom Dempsey has the latest on the investigation and what may have caused this.
And Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says there could be potential deals to be made to free hostages held by Hamas. Our Robert Sherman is live in Tel Aviv with the latest details.
And Pope Francis has essentially fired a conservative Texas bishop. Stephanie Haynes has more on that story and what it takes to get fired by the Pope in just a few minutes. But first, the House plans to meet today in what might be the first concrete attempt to impeach Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas. Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene says that he has violated the Secure Fence Act. That's a 2006 Bush-era law that defines the border operationally secure only if no people or contraband improperly enter the country. The move has stirred a debate politically and within the Republican Party.
Banks on the payment app Zelle have started refunding victims of imposter scams. Ooh. This after U.S. lawmakers raised major concerns about consumer protection. The new policy marks a major shift from last year when bankers said it was unreasonable to require them to refund transfers that customers were tricked into approving.
And we're expected to learn today whether Ford UAW members, those union members in Louisville, Kentucky, voted to ratify or reject a tentative contract. Thousands of local 862 union members voted on the deal on Sunday. Now, if approved by a majority of the union, workers would get a wage increase, reinstatement of cost of living adjustments, and new retirement benefits.
And this would be huge for that area.
Yeah, absolutely.
A high school boys soccer team is bringing some much-needed relief to the town of Lewiston, Maine. Just 2 weeks after a deadly shooting rampage killed 18 people in the small city, the Lewiston Blue Devils won the Maine Class A soccer championship. It's the 4th time they took the state title and the first since 2018. One of the players said, quote, "It feels great to win for the city and bring some good to the city."
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Well, let's get back to the loss of U.S. soldiers, 5 of them killed, and now an investigation into what caused an Army helicopter to go down in the Mediterranean Sea.
U.S. European Command saying it happened during a routine training mission. Tom Dempsey has the latest updates as we await the victims' identities to be announced. Tom?
Hey, good morning, Adrienne. Yeah, this morning, the exact cause of this crash remains under investigation, but the U.S. military saying it happened as a result of an accident, not because of enemy fire. According to the Department of Defense, the crash happened in the eastern Mediterranean Sea during a routine training mission dealing with air refueling. The Washington Post citing two sources saying the troops got sent to the region as part of the U.S. military presence in response to the Israel-Hamas war. Right now, the U.S. has thousands of soldiers in the Middle East, as well as at least 24 aircraft carriers and over a dozen warplanes. The military saying this accident occurred early Saturday, the same day as Veterans Day, with Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin saying, quote, "It is another stark reminder that the brave men and women who defend our great nation put their lives on the line each and every day to keep our country safe." Also worth noting, too, that this year, two other training accidents involving military helicopters killed a dozen soldiers combined. One took place in Kentucky back in March when two Black Hawk helicopters crashed during routine training. 9 soldiers died in that. Then just a few weeks later, 2 Army helicopters collided while returning from training in Alaska, killing 3 soldiers. After the 2 crashes, the Army actually grounded aviation units for more training. President Joe Biden also releasing a statement over the weekend saying that the First Lady and he continue to pray for the families affected by this tragedy. Again, the names and the identities of the service members killed still have not been publicly released as the military notifies loved ones, guys.
Tom, such a tough situation. Tom, thank you so much. Now to the Middle East, where Israel Defense Forces are opening up humanitarian corridors between northern and southern Gaza. This as the Israeli military holds 4-hour-long pauses in fighting. Our Robert Sherman is live in Tel Aviv this morning. And Robert, this is the latest information coming through, and so many people are just hoping for a break to get those civilians out.
Yeah, we know right now there's one of those pauses that's in effect, and this one is going to be lasting for 7 hours today, which is an upgrade from those 4 hours that have been agreed to between the Israelis and the Americans. That doesn't mean that there is a shortage of activity that's been taking place in the Gaza Strip, with the latest total at 4,300 targets struck, 300 tunnels destroyed, as the fighting at this hour is really centered on the heart of Gaza City. But now that pause is in effect, lasting 7 hours, and in recent days, we've seen tens of thousands of people who have been fleeing northern Gaza and heading south. The UN estimates about 70% of people in the Gaza Strip have been displaced, with more expected to leave northern Gaza in the coming hours and days. It's also worth noting, if you look at the southern portion of the Gaza Strip, we saw, according to Egyptian officials, the first foreign passport holders and injured Gazans getting through that Rafah crossing and into Egypt after the crossing closed again on Friday. That was because of safety concerns that were taking place there. We've seen this happening a few times over the last couple of weeks. Some of the people who are making that journey, U.S. citizens, who say it's been a hard and trying journey to get out. Listen to this.
It's been hard for me and my brother. It's been really hard for me and my brother and other people, millions of people. We came from the north. We walked more than 5 kilometers on feet, and it's been so hard, and people were dying, were mentally unwell.
There's been the issue of fuel and a lot of conversation about that in the Gaza Strip. This is coming out of a hospital today, showing a surgeon stitching up a patient using nothing but cell phone lights, as hospital staffers there say they don't have any fuel. But the IDF pushing back on all this, saying they have been delivering fuel. This video that they posted appears to show IDF soldiers delivering what they say is 300 liters of fuel to Shifa Hospital. But they claim that the Hamas-run Gazan Health Ministry won't allow the hospital to accept it. The IDF says at this hour that fuel still has yet to be claimed by hospital staffers. Adrienne?
Yes, and Prime Minister Netanyahu speaking about that and asking field hospitals to be built with some of the Arab allies, though we have yet to see a lot of patients be moved to those locations. Thank you, Robert. There has been a lot of passion, understandably anger and sorrow over the Israel-Hamas war. Unfortunately, there's also a lot of misinformation and flat-out lies being spread on social media. And one lawmaker is concerned that Americans may unwittingly give money to charities that finance terrorism. North Carolina Republican Congressman Greg Murphy is asking Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen what, if anything, her department plans on doing to keep U.S. dollars from flowing to Hamas and other terror groups, those charitable dollars. And Congressman Murphy is joining me right now to speak a little bit about that. Is this about people who don't understand that their money will actually go to terrorists? Or are you also concerned about people who are supportive of Hamas, supportive because they're sympathizing with Gaza?
In a way, it's both, but primarily individuals who are good-natured. They're wanting to help the individual, especially such as the horror of war that you see on television. They're wanting to help the innocent Palestinian, but fully knowing that so much of that money is actually being funneled under secretive channels to fund the terrorist group Hamas. There are, of course, individuals that want to fund Hamas in this country, sadly enough. Those individuals, in my opinion, need to be stopped also. In the Secretary's opinion, it should be also. But sadly enough, we have so many scammers on television and on social media today trying to basically steal money from innocent Americans. We want that stopped also.
Well, before I get to the social media point, there are college groups, there are groups on campus who operate as nonprofits. Just within the past couple of weeks, we reported on it here in NewsNation about how there are some lawmakers who are pushing to have schools, universities, and colleges have rights taken away or their standing somehow diminished because they're allowing these groups to operate, some of which are not feasible 501c3s.
Sure, sure. Well, there's a difference, and I've been very much a very vocal advocate for free speech, and there's a difference between free speech and funding terrorist organizations. I'm fine if people want to protest for Palestinians, absolutely, but when they start doing that for Hamas or for a terrorist organization, I believe that draws a line. You know, the same thing would have happened a few years ago if we'd have been, marching for neo-Nazi groups or something else like that. Those groups that funnel hate and terrorism. It draws a fine line on that, and sadly enough, this is what's now happening on campuses these days.
But how do you know the difference? Where is the line drawn? Because I think a lot of Americans, understandably, are concerned about the war. They have compassion for those little babies, those children found in the rubble. And they also have compassion for the Israelis who have been just, their hearts ripped from their chests from what happened on October 7th. So when you see the demonstrations, some of them are peaceful, but some of them, there's a big gray area between supporting Palestinians and supporting a terror organization, right?
Sure. Yeah, and that gray area has always existed when it comes up to other topics, so I don't know that this is anything new. You know, I was in the kibbutz a year and a half ago where those people who I met are now dead, children who are now dead. And I understand the Israeli need to absolutely exterminate Hamas. Hamas is now, to your point of them not allowing fuel to hospitals, using these individuals, these innocent Palestinians, as shields. So, yes, I think it's fine, in my opinion, to understand and support the innocent Palestinians. But when it comes to supporting the terrorist group that wants to kill every Israeli, no, that's wrong. And so, yeah, there is a fine line, but one that really needs to be demarcated.
So the Treasury Department has already sanctioned several groups. We understand that fund Hamas. What else would you like to see done?
Well, I think you need to stop. You not only need to stop start sanctioning them. You need to stop the flow of money. Point blank, stop the flow of money, which we have the absolute authority to do and the ability to do. We can't allow Americans, innocently or whether they do it on purpose, to fund terrorist organizations. How much they support the Palestinians, but I'm sorry, when you fund a terrorist organization, that's a no-go for this, or what should be a no-go for this country.
But how do you do that, especially with social media? Every post that I see is a fundraiser affiliated with TikTok or Instagram right now.
Yeah, well, we can trace where the money's going. We have the ability to do that. Sorry for the earpiece. We have the ability to understand where the money is being funneled to. So, yeah, I think we can absolutely stop it then. We do it when we provide sanctions to do for other causes overseas. We can stop funding for them. We can stop funding for this place also.
Congressman Greg Murphy, we appreciate you coming on Morning in America.
Thank you so much. Have a great day.
You too.
Adrienne, thank you. The search is on for a new Catholic bishop for the diocese in East Texas after Pope Francis abruptly fired Bishop Joseph Strickland. Strickland is a conservative radio host who has criticized the pontiff for being too progressive on social issues, specifically on welcoming more women and LGBTQIA people into the church. Our own Stephanie Haynes is live. And Stephanie, did the Vatican say exactly why the bishop was fired?
No reason given, Nick, but we do know that the bishop was under investigation by the Vatican and refused to resign. And, you know, I did speak at length with his co-host, his co-radio host, who says he wasn't surprised by this and says this could show a growing divide within the Catholic Church.
A rare moment in the Catholic community, Pope Francis removing Bishop Joseph Strickland from office in Tyler, Texas. Strickland has a large social media following and hosts a weekly radio show on which his co-host says he has spoken out against the Pope.
He's willing to take it on the chin for the truth, and I think that's what I respect about him most.
Pope Francis recently floated the possibility of sanctioning some same-sex marriages on a case-by-case basis, which some advocacy groups praised. But Strickland later wrote a public letter warning of, quote, an evil and false message that has invaded the church.
Many people didn't like him, and he made a lot of bishops uncomfortable.
Bishop Strickland was appointed to the role in 2012 by then Pope Benedict XVI. His removal follows a Vatican-led investigation into what Cardinal Daniel DiNardo calls, quote, all aspects of the governance and leadership of the Diocese of Tyler. The investigators recommended Strickland's removal to the Pope, who then requested the bishop's resignation on November 9th. Strickland refused, and 2 days later, he was ousted. In a statement, the diocese writes in part, quote, our mission is to share the gospel of Jesus Christ, to foster an authentic Christian community, and to serve the needs of all people with compassion and love. In the meantime, those familiar with the bishop don't believe his ministry is over.
You know what he said? Life is short, eternity is forever. I'm in for the long run.
You know, I reached out to the bishop for an interview and didn't hear back, but he has been tweeting. He has been active on social media calling for people to pray for the church, pray for the Pope, pray for him in this time. Also, he will be doing his radio show this week. He's apparently recording today, according to his co-host, and that episode will be released tomorrow, and he says he will discuss this removal. Adrienne, Nick.
Stephanie, thank you so much. I know that anytime there's a disruption in leadership, it does cause, a bit of distress for the faithful. So we hope that all works out.
Yeah.
Well, listen, it was 1 year ago today, 4 University of Idaho students were stabbed to death in their sleep. A look at where the case stands right now and how the school is honoring the victims today.
Plus, a group of immigrants say no thank you to a new shelter. This has happened before. It's happening again. But the reason they're leaving this time.
And NewsNation is your home for the next Republican primary debate. The GOP presidential candidates will square off in a live primetime event at the University of Alabama on Wednesday, December 6th. Our own Elizabeth Vargas, SiriusXM's Megyn Kelly, and Washington Free Beacon editor-in-chief Eliana Johnson will moderate the 2-hour event. You don't want to miss it.
NewsNation Republican primary debate, December 6th on NewsNation.
Cracked windshield on your new car? You don't have to take it to the dealer. Bring it to Safelite. We do more replacements and recalibrations than anyone else.
Thank you so much.
Schedule now.
Safelite Repair, Safelite Replace.
My daddy's a cowboy. I'm a cowboy, and I'm raising a cowgirl. And discovering that my family come from farmers for generations. This life is in our blood.
Give the gift of family heritage with Ancestry.
Okay, everyone. Our mission is to provide complete balanced nutrition for strength and energy.
Ensure with 27 vitamins and minerals, nutrients for immune health, and Ensure Complete with 30 grams of protein.
It's easy to get lost in investment research. Introducing JP Morgan Personal Advisors.
Hey, David.
Connect with an advisor to create your personalized plan.
Let's find the right investments for your goals.
Okay, great.
JP Morgan Wealth Management.
Had enough? No, arthritis. Here, Aspirin Arthritis. Huh.
Full prescription strength. Reduces inflammation. Thank the gods.
Don't thank them too soon.
Kick pain in the Aspercream.
Sore throat got your tongue? Mucinex Insta-Sue Sore Throat Medicated Drops. Uniquely formulated for rapid relief that lasts and lasts.
That's my baby!
Get Mucinex Insta-Sue. It's comeback season.
We will no longer be prisoners to you, Winter. We shall fly south to where the courts are eternally bright, and we will do so with Consumer Cellular. The same coverage for up to half the cost. When freedom calls, we're here to answer.
Why pay over $100 a month for cable when it's half the cost for Fubo TV? Get all the channels you want, with all the entertainment you love, for the price that cable can't beat. Try free at FuboTV.com.
A couple years ago, I ended up in a motorcycle accident. I didn't have health insurance at the time, and now I have a plan that keeps me covered for $9 a month.
Half of my monthly premium is covered with financial help, and knowing I'm covered to go to therapy and fill my prescriptions is huge.
I found a plan for $0 a month. It was a huge sigh of relief.
All plans cover doctor visits, prescriptions, emergency care, and more. Healthcare.gov is here for you. Enroll by December 15th.
What you see online can't accurately tell the story of the war that is currently taking place. We're trying to get past the noise and the punditry. This is part of everyday Israel. We want to bring you the raw story as it happens. We were the first journalists inside of this hospital. You need to hear their voices. We want you to see this crisis and this war through their eyes.
Welcome back. It was 1 year ago when 4 University of Idaho students were murdered in their home, devastating the college campus and forever changing the entire community of Moscow, Idaho. Kaylee Goncalves, Madison Mogan, Zena Cornoto, and Ethan Chapin were all found stabbed to death after a night out. A weeks-long manhunt led police to arrest 28-year-old Brian Koberger, claiming DNA evidence links him to the crime. The former criminology student is charged with 4 counts of murder and remains behind bars as the legal case against him proceeds. He has pleaded not guilty. Let's bring in NewsNation's Law and Justice contributor Jennifer Coffindaffer. Jennifer, good morning. The evidence and the university, all of this is all tied together. Now, the University of Idaho is holding a vigil tonight at 6 p.m. on campus in memory of the victims. What should we be reflecting on today?
Well, I think as we look back at this case, here it's already been a year ago, and really in the adjudication process, we're still in the discovery stage. So I think it really gives us pause that these victim families are going to have to endure probably years and years before some justice and resolution is reached. And so for me, my heart goes out to their families. And I hope all of us keep the memory of Xana, Ethan, Kaylee, and Maddie, in our forefront.
And Jennifer, even as we're speaking with you now, we were showing the victims, the photos of those victims, because we do not want to lose focus on the fact that this is what it's all about. To many of us, it seems like this is just dragged on forever, but this is not outside of the scope of how long something like this can take, correct?
That's correct. Today, in this day and age, these investigations do drag out because of all of the new technologies that are used by law enforcement, including genetic genealogy and other forensic evaluations of cell phones and things. When you look back at the case of President McKinley, who was murdered, he was adjudicated within 2 weeks. His trial started, and his perpetrator was brought to death within a month. So it's very interesting how slow the wheels are now turning, years instead of weeks.
Jennifer, the timeline of this case has had a lot of twists and turns from the time it took for someone to call 911, for 6 weeks for authorities to actually make an arrest, where Koberger waived his right to a speedy trial. Lawyers are now still in the discovery phase, like you just said, and a court date hasn't even been set. When can we expect to see some, what many would consider to be significant progress in this case?
I think we won't have go to trial, unfortunately, Nick, for probably at least 2 to 3 more years. We haven't really even started the suppression hearings of all of this evidence. I mean, they're still trying to figure out what they're going to receive in discovery. A judge has given the government till December 1st to turn over some of those items to him so he can make those decisions. So we are on this very slow treadmill, Nick. I don't expect progress for years.
And Jennifer, you just talked about how long this could take and how the family really should prepare for that. How do they prepare for that? What impact does that have on a victim's family and the public?
Well, it's so difficult and I think frustrating for everyone. The investigative progress has been amazing. It's the adjudication progress that is going so slow. And it makes it so difficult. It's like pulling off a scab slowly for these victim families. And I think everybody is tired of seeing all the crazy speculation that's going on in social media, really naming other individuals that were named before there was any evidence against Bryan Kohberger. So it's frustrating for all involved, and we can only hope the process lends us to the correct answer and the correct conviction in this case.
Jennifer, last question. I've got 30 seconds there. Is DNA evidence enough?
DNA evidence doesn't have to be enough in this case, Nick, because there's so much more evidence, including all the cellular tracking evidence they have, including the vehicle evidence, video evidence. They're going to be able to, I think, track that knife back to the purchase. So even though that's the strong punch, there's a lot of smaller punches that are going to lead to this conviction, I believe.
Law and Justice contributor Jennifer Coffendaffer. Jennifer, thank you so much.
Thank you, Nick.
Yeah, something that, again, how do you get past this? I mean, the families of these victims, they've been so resolute, so strong in light of such a horrific, day. Yeah, just 1 year out. Well, some prominent media outlets are pushing for President Trump's federal election trial to be televised. The reason they want Americans to see the testimony and the evidence and how it might impact the 2024 election.
And get your debit and credit card ready. Get this, you guys. Southwest Airlines is offering $29 flights. But there's a catch.
$29? That's great. Yes. Plus, you could own a piece of Beatles history if you have a spare $10 million. I mean, maybe you'll save that much by flying Southwest. No, you won't. Let's be real. But we're going to give you a peek inside anyway.
Meet the Jennifers. Gen X, Gen Y, and Gen Z. Each planning their future through the Chase mobile app. Gen X is planning a summer in Portugal with some help from JP Morgan Wealth Plan. Let's go, Whiskers. Gen Y is working with a banker to budget for her birthday.
You only turned 30 once.
And Gen Z, her credit's golden. Hello, new apartment. 3 gens getting ahead with Chase. Solutions that grow with you. One bank for now, for later, for life. Chase, make more of what's yours.
When you get a chip in your windshield, trust SafeLife. This couple was headed to the farmer's market. When they got a chip, they drove to SafeLife for a same-day repair. And with their insurance, it was no cost to them. That's service the way you need it.
Safe like repair, safe like replace.
Had enough? No, arthritis.
Here, Aspirin arthritis.
Full prescription strength. Reduces inflammation. Thank the gods.
Don't thank them too soon.
Kick pain in the Aspirin.
My active psoriatic arthritis can make me feel like I'm losing my rhythm. With Skyrizi to treat my skin and joints, I'm getting into my groove. Along with significantly clearer skin, Skyrizi helps me move with less joint pain, stiffness, swelling, and fatigue. And is just 4 doses a year after 2 starter doses. Skyrizi attaches to and reduces a source of excess inflammation that can lead to skin and joint symptoms. With Skyrizi, 90% clearer skin and less joint pain are possible.
Serious allergic reactions and an increased risk of infections or a lower ability to fight them may occur. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms, had a vaccine, or plan to.
Thanks to Skyrizi, there's nothing like clearer skin and better movement. And that means everything. Now's the time to ask your doctor about Skyrizi. Learn how AbbVie could help you save.
If your vehicle isn't under warranty, it's almost like a ticking time bomb. Sooner or later, it's going to break down, and you'll be stuck with a repair bill that could blow up your budget. Unless you have an auto protection plan from Everything Breaks. Our protection plans cover the expensive items that your auto insurance doesn't, like engine repairs, transmission, AC, computer systems, and more. Plus, our plans include 24/7 roadside assistance, free towing, free trip interruption, and free rental cars. Plans from other providers can cost between $100 to $200 per month. But with Everything Breaks, you can get the critical coverage that you need with plans starting at less than $1 a day. And if you call right now, your rates will be locked in, guaranteed. If your vehicle is out of warranty, call us now to get protected before it breaks down.
Call 1-800-374-4456, 1-800-374-4456.
Welcome back to News for All America. Here's what's in the mix. Dozens of migrants bused to a makeshift tent city in Brooklyn on Sunday are saying no thanks. The tent city is prepared to house up to 2,000 asylum seekers, but some said this was a disaster waiting to happen. Now that they've given up their beds, it's unclear where they'll sleep when nighttime temperatures drop. New York City Mayor Eric Adams says that with more than 65,000 migrants in the city's care and thousands more arriving each week, they are out of good options for shelter. And a desperate search in India as rescuers dig to reach 40 workers trapped in a collapsed road tunnel. Police confirm the rescuers have established contact. All of the workers are safe and have been supplied with oxygen and water. The trapped workers were building part of an all-weather road, a flagship federal government project connecting various Hindu pilgrim sites. And the Rockefeller Center Christmas tree is now in its new home, arriving in New York City on Saturday. Now, from the footage, we can see the crew erecting the tree with the help of a crane at the iconic location in Midtown Manhattan. The tree stands 80 feet tall, weighs 12 tons, and is believed to be about 80 to 85 years old. It's scheduled to make its lighting debut in the official ceremony on November 29th. And a rare find in London. Okay, this townhouse where the Beatles hid from fans hits the market for, get this, $10.7 million. The 5-bedroom Georgian home was built in the 1750s and was formerly owned by Beatles manager Brian Epstein. The band is believed to have worked on their 1967 album Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band in-house and have done several publicity stunts at that location. Now, John Lennon also scribbled on the tiles in the kitchen, but they were later ripped out and sold at an auction. But you know, people are still crazy about all things Beatles.
Oh, yeah, and always will be, forever and ever and ever and ever. Some people are crazy about watching court cases, you know,
yes,
like
they are.
a la O.J. Simpson.
Yes.
This is a whole different can of wax, maybe, as some would say. We use the word unprecedented, historic. A U.S. president being tried in a case that would essentially, this would change everything. Should Americans be privy to the election interference trial for former President Trump? His attorneys filing a request to have his federal election interference trial televised. Now, earlier this month, special counsel Jack Smith's team did ask a judge not to allow cameras in the courtroom, pointing to a federal rule already banning them. But now the defense is arguing, quote, every person in America and beyond should have the opportunity to study this case firsthand. NewsNation political contributor and attorney Chris Hahn with me right now. So they changed their opinion about this, joining the likes of the AP, the Associated Press, and other news outlets that were actually pushing for this case to be televised, saying, you know, this is a U.S. president being tried in federal court. Do they have a point?
Yeah, I think they do. And I think that the American people have a right to see what's going on, not only in this case, but in all the cases, the document case, his civil trials. The American people should have an eyewitness account of what is going on in that courtroom. Because quite frankly, what you hear from Trump's a lot of spin. In court, you don't really get spin. You get facts backed up by evidence. And I would love to see how it plays out in real time. I think the American people will benefit from it. You know, one thing I've been saying, Adrienne, and I think you'll agree with this, I've traveled this country, and I meet a lot of people who disagree with me. But one thing they almost all have in common is that they are nice people. They are not rude. I think that the antics that Donald Trump has been pulling off in court here in New York show that he is not a nice person, and he is incredibly rude. And I think the American people seeing that, look, elections are resolved on the margins, and only a few people have to swing in either direction to swing the election. And I think that his behavior will account for a lot of that.
So when you said that a lot of people in this country, what I would agree with is that most everyone in this country is nice at their core. I really do believe that. They're sober-minded, they're reasonable, they're appalled at what's happened in our nation. But I do believe that, especially based on polling, and we can talk about how accurate those are, half of people think that he's rude, or maybe 60+% think that he's rude. The other percentage think that he has been treated unfairly by the justice system, that there's a double standard, and that he has a right to be a little bit combative when he's being attacked politically. With that being said, go ahead.
Correct. But here's the thing. I don't need to move 40% of Americans. I need to move 1% of Americans in Georgia, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, Michigan, Arizona, right? The elections are won on the margins. You don't have to have everybody migrate and say, oh, Trump's been treated misfairly. You have to have 1% say, you know what, that guy's too rude to be president. I don't want to watch him on my TV screen for another 4 years. Well, I think the more people see him, the more that happens.
Well, and so you believe that televising this trial and the other trials would actually do what he's saying, which this weekend in New Hampshire at a presidential campaign event, he said the prosecution wishes to continue this travesty, speaking about the trial, in darkness, and I want sunlight. You would say that sunlight would be to expose the heart of this man who you do not believe should be president again.
Yes, I think sunlight is the great disinfectant. I would like to see his attorney file the same motion in the documents case, which they have so far not done, because he is dead to rights in that case. And he's done some shady things, like asking his maid to move boxes of classified materials. The very reason the man was elected president in the first place is because he successfully prosecuted a case against his opponent that she was unfit to handle classified materials, and yet he did something far worse. I would love to see that case televised, and I'm waiting for the former president to see the benefits in that for him. I have a feeling he won't, and I have a feeling he'll fight any motion to make that case televised.
Well, what do you say to people who would see this case, they'd be excited to see this televised, to just demonstrate how he's being treated compared to other people within the justice system, that there is a double standard, and maybe questioning those claims about the maid moving the boxes being shady, if they do believe, as the former president has said, that he declassified those documents, and really how many people are guilty of the same thing. I could name a whole lot.
Yeah, look, there are very few people who get to be president of the United States, and I think there's a higher standard, right? And again, we don't got to change the minds of everybody, just a few people. And I think that seeing him in court, being treated, quite frankly, like everybody else is treated in court. I worked in the court system. I'm an attorney. I worked in prosecutor's office. I worked in the federal courts. He is not being treated worse than most people in courts. He's being treated better than most people who are taken into court this way. So I think that his claims are questionable at best on how he's being treated. I think he thinks he needs to be treated better than everybody because he's been treated better than everyone since he was a child, because he was a millionaire at 3 years old. Most of us go into the court system alone, not with our security detail, not with an army of lawyers and billions of dollars. This man's being treated better than most, and I think better than almost all, frankly. And I think people will see that if he's on trial.
Yeah, I want you, the next time you come on, to have a list of people that he's being treated similarly to or differently than, considering the documents found in President Biden's possession, Vice President Mike Pence's possession. I think they dated back some documents to the Bush administration. But also, I think a lot of Americans are contrasting how he's being treated to how Hunter Biden's been treated as well.
Well, look. He did not turn over the documents when he was asked for months and months and months and months. When Biden found the documents on his own, he turned them over immediately. And they were primarily scheduling documents that should have never been classified to begin with. So I think that it's a little different the way he's trying to phrase this. The man hid the documents, wouldn't return them. I don't know why he wanted them. I think they were trophies for him. But whatever it is, he should have just turned them over the first time he was asked for it, and none of this would have happened.
And that's going to be the big question. Will that be the straw that breaks this case wide open? Chris Hahn, thank you. Always good to have you here.
Thank you.
Have a great day.
Happy Monday.
Yes.
Chris is fired up this morning.
Oh, he is ready
Chris is
to
ready.
play.
Absolutely.
Ready.
Okay. If you're like me, on a certain side of 50, you're probably thinking about...
Are you already on a certain side?
I am on a certain side.
Like fine wine, Nick, like fine wine.
You're like, Nick, don't say that. Your career will be over.
No,
listen, guys,
for a man, it is definitely not over 50.
Well, listen, if you're concerned about finding your golden years, you're not alone. But don't fret. Mary Liz Burns is coming up, and she has secrets to help make sure that you are prepared for a peaceful retirement.
My mental health was much better, but I struggled with uncontrollable movements called TD, tardive dyskinesia. TD can be caused by some mental health meds.
And it's unlikely to improve without treatment. I felt like my movements were in the spotlight.
#1 prescribed Ingrezza is the only TD treatment for adults that's always one pill once daily. Ingrezza 80 milligram is proven to reduce TD movements in 7 out of 10 people. People taking Ingrezza can stay on most mental health meds. Ingrezza can cause depression, suicidal thoughts, or actions in patients with Huntington's disease. Pay close attention to and call your doctor if you become depressed, have sudden changes in mood, behaviors, feelings, or have thoughts of suicide. Don't take Ingrezza if you're allergic to its ingredients. Ingrezza may cause serious side effects, including angioedema, potential heart rhythm problems, and abnormal movements. Report fevers, stiff muscles, or problems thinking, as these may be life-threatening. Sleepiness is the most common side effect.
It's nice. People focus more on me.
Ask your doctor about #1 prescribed once daily Ingrezza.
The virus that causes shingles is sleeping in 99% of people over 50. It's lying dormant, waiting, and could reactivate. Shingles strikes as a painful, blistering rash that can last for weeks, and it could wake at any time. Think you are not at risk for shingles? It's time to wake up, because shingles could wake up in you. If you're over 50, talk to your doctor or pharmacist about shingles prevention.
$579 breaths to show them your stuff. Every breath matters. Don't let RSV take your breath away. Protect yourself from RSV with Abrysvo, Pfizer's RSV vaccine. Abrysvo is a vaccine for the prevention of lower respiratory disease from RSV in people 60 years and older. RSV can be serious if you are 60 or older. Having asthma, COPD, diabetes, or heart disease puts you at even higher risk. Abrysvo is not for everyone and may not protect all who receive the vaccine. Don't get Abrysvo if you've had a severe allergic reaction to its ingredients. People with a weakened immune system may have a decreased response to Abrysvo. The most common side effects are tiredness, headache, pain at the injection site, and muscle pain. Ask your pharmacist or doctor about Pfizer's RSV vaccine, Abrysvo. Visit these retailers or find other retailers near you at abrysvo.com.
When you have chronic kidney disease, there are places you'd like to be. Like here. And here. Not so much here. Farxiga reduces the risk of kidney failure, which can lead to dialysis.
Farxiga can cause serious side effects, including ketoacidosis that may be fatal, dehydration, urinary tract or genital yeast infections, and low blood sugar. A rare, life-threatening bacterial infection in the skin of the perineum could occur. Stop taking Farxiga and call your doctor right away if you have symptoms of this infection, an allergic reaction, or ketoacidosis.
When you have chronic kidney disease, it's time to ask your doctor for Farxiga, because there are places you want to be.
If you can't afford your medication, AstraZeneca may be able to help.
Welcome back. Many Americans are grappling not just with rising costs today, but concerns that they may have to work longer than they expected. An AARP survey finds 22% of Americans have no retirement savings, and nearly 2 in 3 worry they will run out of money in their twilight years. Let's bring in AARP Senior Integrated Communications Strategic Director, Mary Liz Burns. Mary, I talked about you before the break because some of us on the other side of 50 may be thinking, okay, how much do I need to have? Is it too late? What should I be doing? You're saying it's not too late to start, but what's a good starting point for someone with maybe no retirement savings in reaching their goals? And what about someone who may have some savings but is worried that they will run out in the later years?
Me. I mean, fear about running out of money is one of the #1 things we hear about, especially as folks are looking at their accounts and thinking, you know what? I'm a little late, or maybe I haven't even started, and I don't know, I don't have enough money. First of all, know that it's never too late to make a few quick adjustments and turn that fear into focus. So before you even get to retirement savings, first look and see how much money are you making, and are you spending more than you're actually making? This is the time now to take a look at your budget and sort of say, you know what am I spending? Write down 30 or 60 days worth of expenses, things that cost so much more you don't even realize are eating into those dollars, which mean that you can't pay down debt or you can't start saving more for retirement. Another piece is about debt. So there's a spending side and then debt side. It's not just retirement savings. If you've got a lot of debt, try to make more than your minimum payments. We've got lots of great tips on ways to get that debt under control. And everybody wants a retirement savings number. How much should I have? Well, I'm sorry to say there is not one perfect number for anyone. We all have a different vision of what retirement looks like, where we're going to live. But a couple of really quick tips. One is, if you haven't started saving at all, just put aside $50, even $100 a month in what you're taking home. Put it into a safe account. There's lots of options we have at ARP.org of ways to look for places to save. It's really important just to start. Start with that habit. Don't look back. No shame, no judgment.
No shame, no judgment. Fear into focus. Mary Liz Burns, AARP, thank you so much. And we cannot wait to talk to you more about the best ways to save. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
I feel like I just went into a motivational talk.
And she said, hey, $50, do something. Just don't keep sitting there.
And I think that 30-something-year-olds and 40-something-year-olds are already thinking about how am I going to be able to afford to live?
Yep.
I don't want to be in the same predicament as my parents and grandparents.
Yep.
Yeah, that's scary. Well, the focus of the immigration crisis, it's usually directed towards our southern border with Mexico. That's where we're seeing the largest numbers. But of course, agents in the north, they're seeing record numbers too. NewsNation went on an exclusive ride-along at our border with Canada, the surge of illegal crossings and the warnings from officials.
Plus, President Biden is set to meet with Chinese President Xi Jinping for the first time in a year, what the Biden administration says it's hoping to accomplish.
My dry eyes made me a burning, stinging 5 times a day.
Makeup smearing, drops user.
I want another option. That's not another drop.
Tyrvaya. It's not another drop. It's the first and only nasal spray for dry eye. Tyrvaya treats the signs and symptoms of dry eye disease fast by helping your body produce its own real tears. Common side effects include sneezing, cough, and throat and nose irritation.
Relying only on drops? Not me. My own real tears are my relief.
Ask your eye doctor about Tyrvaya.
Good morning with Docolax.
Good morning. Hey. Yeah.
Try Docolax Chewy Fruit Bites for fast and gentle constipation relief in as little as 30 minutes. Making your good morning even better with Docolax.
Sore throat got your tongue? Mucinex Insta-Soothe Sore Throat Medicated Drops. Uniquely formulated for rapid relief that lasts and lasts.
That's my baby!
Get Mucinex Insta-Soothe. It's comeback season.
Diabetes can serve up a lot of questions. Like, what is your glucose and can you have more carbs? Before you decide, with the Freestyle Libre 2 system, know your glucose level and where it's headed, no finger sticks needed. Manage your diabetes with more confidence and lower your A1C. The #1 doctor-prescribed CGM, Freestyle Libre 2. Try it for free at freestylelibre.us.
It's easy to get lost in investment research. Introducing JP Morgan Personal Advisors.
Hey, David.
Connect with an advisor to create your personalized plan.
Let's find the right investments for your goals.
Okay, great.
JP Morgan Wealth Management.
I have moderate to severe Crohn's disease. Now there's Skyrizi.
Things are looking up. I've got symptom relief. Control of my Crohn's means everything to me. Control is everything to me.
Feel 6 significant symptom relief at 4 weeks with Skyrizi, including less abdominal pain and fewer bowel movements. Skyrizi is the first IL-23 inhibitor that can deliver remission and visibly improve damage of the intestinal lining. And the majority of people experienced long-lasting remission at 1 year.
Serious allergic reactions and an increased risk of infections or a lower ability to fight them may occur. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms, had a vaccine, or plan to. Liver problems may occur in Crohn's disease.
Now's the time to ask your gastroenterologist how you can take control of your Crohn's with Skyrizi.
Control is everything to me.
Learn how AbbVie could help you save.
He hits his mark center stage and is crushed by a baby grand piano.
You're replacing me?
Customize and save with Liberty Bibbity.
He doesn't even have a mustache.
Only pay for what you need.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
So stressed out. I am so stressed out. I just got this bonus and I got this influx of cash. I gotta get this 401k. Emily's going to college in 9 years. My neighbor Lisa said,
Bill, we got you. At Facet Wealth, we help with every financial decision, from investing that work bonus to saving for Emily's college fund. Our dedicated CFP professionals work with you one-on-one to provide personalized financial planning for your entire life.
To unlock insights about your financial health, check your financial wellness score at Facet.com.
Hi, I'm Jeff from Nuts.com. When my grandfather started this business in 1929, he relied on 4 important values: freshness, quality, variety, and service. I'm proud to carry on his legacy, but from a bigger space. We still freshly roast, season, and dip delicious nuts here in New Jersey and deliver them with the freshest dried fruits, snacks, and sweets to families that love our products all around the country, including mine. We think you'll love Nuts.com too, so check us out and enjoy free shipping on your first order.
Now to a NewsNation exclusive. There are growing concerns about illegal immigration at our northern border as more resources and staff have been directed to the southern border with Mexico.
Absolutely. A massive surge in encounters at the Canadian border is prompting increased calls for help, including from the senior senator from New Hampshire. Democrat Jeanne Shaheen writing a letter to Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas saying attention to the northern border is urgently needed. Emily Finn is on the ground in northern Vermont. Emily, you had an exclusive ride-along this morning, and it's one of those situations that continues to develop.
Nick, it certainly is. Our NewsNation team traveled here to the Swanton sector. It's actually the part of the northern border that is the busiest. They've seen a 550% increase in apprehensions, and we were able to see the hardest hit areas where agents are really struggling with the unique challenges that the northern border poses when it comes to weather and terrain. Take a look at what we were able to find.
That is just a never-ending cycle.
Darren Elwell is the chief steward of the National Border Patrol Council's local chapter here in Newport, Vermont.
That side of the tree line is Canada.
He's been working here on the northern border for nearly 2 decades and says he's never seen a surge in illegal crossings like in the past year than ever before, especially during frigid winter weather months.
Hypothermia and frostbite are a major concern for the people that are crossing in this area.
He showed us some of the hardest hit areas where agents are apprehending the largest number of migrants.
But you can see the tracks right here on the ground from the last drive-through.
The northern border saw a 550% increase in apprehensions during fiscal year 2023, more than the past 10 years combined. While the Biden administration claims they are doing everything in their power to prioritize border security,
we have a broken immigration system. It's been broken for decades now, and the president has done everything that he can on his own to try to figure out how do we deal with what's going on at the border.
Elwell disagrees that our laws on immigration are flawed.
We need to enforce the laws that are actually on the books. I understand that everyone likes to say that we have a broken immigration system. Well, the immigration system was working, and now it is broken. If someone wanted to change it, they should have changed it first before they just abandoned enforcement of the current laws.
Over in Champlain, New York, another area of the Swanton sector, resident Steve Bowman says Canada is his backyard.
The northern edge of my property is the no-go zone for the border.
Bowman says just 2 weeks ago, a suspicious-looking car pulled up into the driveway of his home.
But they do one beep on the horn, then wait a few minutes, and then do another beep.
After about 15 minutes, the car sped away.
What we were told was that was a pickup for people that are coming across the border.
There will always be people who want to enter this country, and they're going to be doing it illegally. So there will always have to be someone watching and preventing it from occurring.
And the border agents we spoke with say that they're going to be watching for and putting a renewed focus on anyone that may be on a terror watch list as the war in Israel continues to displace foreign nationals. They haven't caught anyone on such a list yet, but they do often get notifications from our northern neighbor anytime someone on a terror watch list is in Canada. Adrienne and Nick?
Emily, thank you so much. Great report. Wow.
Yeah, I mean, it's something that's been going on for years. There's no fence. There are hardly any agents, and you cannot have just a couple of them monitor the entire extent of our border with Canada.
And if we know that, those who are seeking to enter illegally are knowing it too.
They're very, very well aware.
Absolutely.
Yes, and it's a different kind of immigration too. A lot of attention paid to those terror watch lists. Well, the FBI is seizing NYC Mayor Eric Adams' phones, his iPad. We're live in New York with the surprising claims and how Mayor Adams is responding. We'll be right back.
I'm hearing different ways for me to screen for colon cancer.
It's time to use my voice. I've got a choice, more than one answer.
I sat down with my doc.
We had a talk.
Knew just what to say.
I asked for Cologuard and did it my way.
Cologuard is a one-of-a-kind way to screen for colon cancer that's effective and non-invasive. It's for people 45 plus at average risk, not high risk. False positive and negative results may occur. Ask your provider for Cologuard.
I did it my way.
Had enough?
No, arthritis.
Here, Aspercream arthritis.
Full prescription strength. Reduces inflammation. Thank the gods.
Don't thank them too soon.
Kick pain in the Aspercream.
Sore throat got your tongue? Mucinex Insta-Sue sore throat medicated drops. Uniquely formulated for rapid relief that lasts and lasts.
That's my baby!
Get Mucinex Insta-Sue. It's comeback season.
It's easy to get lost in investment research. Introducing JP Morgan Personal Advisors.
Hey, David.
Connect with an advisor to create your personalized plan.
Let's find the right investments for your goals.
Okay, great.
JP Morgan Wealth Management.
My mom's Alzheimer's never changed how much we love her, but it did change her. She developed agitation that may happen with dementia due to Alzheimer's disease. She started yelling, pacing around, kept repeating the same questions. She got agitated often, so we asked her doctor for help.
Rexulti is the only FDA-approved medication proven to reduce agitation symptoms that may happen with dementia due to Alzheimer's disease. Rexulti can cause serious side effects. Elderly dementia patients have increased risk of death or stroke. Report fever, stiff muscles, and confusion, which can be life-threatening, or uncontrolled muscle movements, which may be permanent. High blood sugar, which can lead to coma or death. Weight gain, increased cholesterol, low white blood cells, unusual urges, dizziness on standing, falls, seizures, trouble swallowing, or sleepiness may occur. Take action for your loved one. Ask their doctor about Rexulti.
Go look at the sprinter gene. I wonder if you have it or if that's why you didn't make the team.
Let me pull it up. Sprinter gene. Don't have it.
Yep, I knew
Let's see. Can't run, can't catch, too short. What else does it tell?
Give the gift of family heritage with Ancestry.
My active psoriatic arthritis can make me feel like I'm losing my rhythm. With Skyrizi to treat my skin and joints, I'm getting into my groove. Along with significantly clearer skin, Skyrizi helps me move with less joint pain, stiffness, swelling, and fatigue. And is just 4 doses a year after 2 starter doses. Skyrizi attaches to and reduces a source of excess inflammation that can lead to skin and joint symptoms. With Skyrizi, 90% clearer skin and less joint pain are possible.
Serious allergic reactions and an increased risk of infections or a lower ability to fight them may occur. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms, had a vaccine, or plan to.
Thanks to Skyrizi, there's nothing like clearer skin and better movement. And that means everything. Now's the time to ask your doctor about Skyrizi. Learn how AbbVie could help you save.
Welcome back. President Biden and Chinese President Xi Jinping set to meet this week for the first time in over a year.
But it's only the second time in about 3 years that these two world leaders will be meeting face-to-face. They will both be in San Francisco at the Asia-Pacific Economic Cooperation Summit. otherwise known as APEC. Of course, this has been a very tense time in their relationship and between these two countries. Right now, we want to welcome our newest correspondent to the team. We're going to talk about whether or not there could be any possible breakthroughs. But Alina Shirazi is joining us right now from Washington, D.C. And let us be the first to say good morning and welcome to Morning in America. Good to have you with us.
Good morning, Adrienne and Nick. So happy to be with you guys this morning. But listen, this meeting could be a political minefield, as absolutely every detail will be analyzed. Even their body language, how close they sit together, what they eat, if they smile, everything. Senior administration officials tell us the White House is looking at this as an opportunity to open the lines of communication with China on a variety of topics. Biden's national security advisor said yesterday on the matter, the president is determined to see the reestablishment of military-to-military ties because he believes it's in the United States' national security interest. Military-to-military communications between the United States and China all but ended after Nancy Pelosi visited Taiwan last year. Taiwan also expected to be a major focal point between President Biden and Xi this week. The U.S. recently warned China not to interfere in Taiwan's upcoming presidential election. President Biden also expected to urge China to warn Iran against any action that could risk escalating the Israel-Hamas war into broader conflict. And the relationship between the United States and China has been tense, to say the least, over the last year. A few weeks ago, we saw a Chinese fighter jet come within 10 feet of a U.S. B-52 bomber. And the Chinese spy balloon incident earlier this year that impacted military communications between the two countries. The exact location of this long-awaited meeting is still not revealed for Wednesday, and White House officials note this will be the Chinese president's first trip to the United States in 6 years.
Yeah.
Adrienne?
Quite significant. Everybody's going to be watching to see if anything happens, worth noting. Thank you very much, Alina. We have a lot more to get to right here on Morning in America right now.